Well, there are calls tonight for a formal apology after Coroner confirmed human remains were retained without the knowledge or consent of families. The Coronial investigation finding 177 samples from autopsies were collected and stored at the Tasmanian Pathology Museum, first established in the 1960s.
A report into the holding of human remains at a university pathology museum, prompting calls for the Attorney-General to consider taking action.
We know that the coroner can't make findings of guilt. So any accountability now that should be occurring here needs to be done through further investigations of possible breaches of the law. Coroner Simon Cooper finding 177 samples had been retained without authority following coronial autopsies between 1966 and 1991, and that pathologists may have actively sourced specimens to give to the museum. The issue first identified in 2016 when concerns were raised about 3 samples. Family members discovering their loved ones' remains had been kept via a list of names published earlier this year. It's clearly been highly distressing for them, and we really deserve to have a state apology given to those families to help bring closure.
It's quite emotional for everybody involved, and the government will work through that with the people concerned.
The coroner said the retention of remains without approval is a historic practice offensive to contemporary standards, and it's inconceivable it would ever happen again, although the fact it continued for as long as it did is almost equally inconceivable. It's utterly unimaginable to have families in this situation. For most of them, there were already traumatic circumstances around the death of their loved one. And then to find out, sometimes decades later, that remains from their loved one were also put into a collection and put on public display is just horrific. A University of Tasmania spokesperson acknowledged the situation had been traumatic for families, and it is deeply sorry for the sadness and hurt they feel. They said the practice is no longer occurring, and the coroner's report would be carefully considered to determine future action.